Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Alright everyone, I hope you're all doing fantastic. I know it's Monday and it sucks, but that's why a lot of people are subscribed to this channel, because it makes your week go so much faster. Before you know it, the weekend will be here in a blink of an eye. So make sure you are subscribed, and it's free. Everyone loves a freebie. Now, Hughie Fury versus Alexander Povetkin. For those of you who watched my post-fight review, I had Hughie Fury winning that fight 7 rounds to 5. A lot of you disagreed. In fact, people across the boxing world disagree with me, okay? So clearly, I'm in the minority, which meant that quite clearly I'm probably wrong, right? And that's fine. Now, there's a couple of reasons as to why, potentially, and we're gonna get into why I scored it 7 rounds to 5. We're gonna get into the criticism of Hughie Fury, and we're gonna get into the CompuBox and a couple of other things. So stay with this whole video, and by the end of it, hopefully you guys will understand a lot more of the reality of it, because unfortunately Hughie Fury, he has a lot of people who just don't like him, or they just don't like his boxing style, however it may be. And listen, you're entitled to like what you like and don't like what you don't like, okay? Nobody's going to try and force your decision either way. Now, as far as Hughie Fury taking on Alexander Povetkin, why is it that I had him winning 7 rounds to 5? And I think it's probably fair to say, looking back at it at the time, I went into this fight watching it live, of course, and I was nervous for Hughie. I felt that Alexander Povetkin is dangerous, and I felt that if he catches Hughie, there's a very good chance Hughie's going to go to sleep. Okay, and I didn't want to see that happen. Okay, so I was nervous for Hughie Fury, and maybe I was giving him rounds because for those rounds that he was even semi-competitive in, because he didn't get knocked out, I'm like, yes, I'm going to give him that round. Maybe that's in part why. Also, it's a Brit. Of course, I'm very biased when it comes to British, even though I'm a huge fan of Alexander Povetkin, and of course many non-Brits. But if you put them in a ring with a Brit, I want the Brit to win. Okay, so this was a Brit versus a Russian. I want the Brit to win, regardless of whether it's Hughie or not. Okay, so again, my bias will come into it. For those of you British guys who are not that way inclined, maybe you're totally neutral, hey, listen, that's cool. It just means that you're probably a better person than me, right? Maybe. Now, that's probably why I scored it 7 to 5 on the night. Now, for those of you who are critical of Hughie Fury, as I said, you're entitled to, of course you are. And I'm pretty sure that Hughie and Peter and everybody involved will just go, okay, fine, you know what, that's your opinion. Now, for me, I think it's overly critical. And I've been critical of Hughie myself in the past, okay? So this isn't just total fanboyism, not at all. Okay, I've been critical of him. I felt that he wasn't legitimately injured when he was supposed to go to New Zealand and fight Joseph Parker. Many of you guys will remember that video when I started the channel, what's over two and a half years ago now. I was critical of Hughie. So I will pull him up on certain things. Likewise, I felt he lost to Joseph Parker when they fought in Manchester. I felt he lost, okay? Many of you guys disagree with that one, okay? So my point is, I can be critical when I feel it is. And my truth is always just my truth. It's I just call it how I see it, okay? Now, as far as Alexander Povetkin goes, so people, I'm seeing comments in my videos, other people's videos, other people uploaders, and of course on social media that Hughie Fury is washed up. He's only 24 years old, but he's washed up. I'm seeing those. He should leave his father and trainer, Peter Fury. He'll never be world level. He's been exposed and this, that, and the other. And of course, people keep talking about Shades of Ali. Is what it is. Okay, but I think that they're overly critical because he lost to Alexander Povetkin. And we have the CompuBox stats as well, which we're going to get into in a second. Now, he lost to Alexander Povetkin. Well, who's Alexander Povetkin? He's an elite heavyweight. Elite. He ain't no just random blow Joe, okay? He's a elite heavyweight. And people want to say, okay, well, he's old and this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. But yet, are you having that same energy when it comes to Luis Ortiz? Did you give Deontay Wilder credit for defeating Luis Ortiz, even though he had one hell of a scary moment in that fight? Hughie Fury never had a scary moment against Povetkin, did he? Alexander Povetkin is a year younger than Luis Ortiz. Alexander Povetkin, former Olympic gold medalist champion. Luis Ortiz, not. Alexander Povetkin has a stellar resume in comparison to Luis Ortiz, with opponents that he's been in there with and defeated as well. The resumes are worlds apart in favour of Povetkin. Also, Alexander Povetkin, former WBA World Heavyweight Champion. Luis Ortiz never has. So if you're going to be praising Luis Ortiz, even though he's older than Povetkin and hasn't achieved anywhere even close to Povetkin, then why is it that you're criticising Hughie Fury for losing to Povetkin? Because you're pretty much insinuating that Povetkin's a bum, right? If you put Povetkin in the ring with Andy Ruiz Jr., who wins? For most of you guys who actually know both these fighters, you'll probably say Povetkin, right? And that's the reality of it. So does that mean because Ruiz defeated Joshua that Joshua's a bum? If you hate Joshua, you probably say yeah, just because you want to say yeah, which is just ridiculous. But the fact is, again, when you look at it, people say, yeah, but it's not just because he lost to Povetkin, it's because he lost to Kubrat Pulev and he lost to Joseph Parker as well and wasn't really competitive. Okay? As I said, I had Joseph Parker winning that fight. Joseph Parker, guess what? He defeated Andy Ruiz Jr. Okay, so is it really a shame that a 22-year-old Hughie Fury loses to Joseph Parker? As I said, a lot of people felt that he beat Parker. I wasn't one of them, but a lot of people did. He went to Bulgaria and fought Kubrat Pulev and got cut. Was it the first or second round? And things didn't quite go to plan. Okay, people want to give praise to Anthony Yarde because he had one damn good round against Sergey Kovalev. Well, okay, Hughie Fury's only had, half a dozen fights more than Anthony Yarde. And Hughie Fury's 4 years younger than Anthony Yarde. So why are you giving Anthony Yarde praise but criticising Hughie Fury? So there's so many things to weigh up, okay? Now, as far as the CompuBox goes, okay? Now, the CompuBox, as I said, you can't go on CompuBox in its entirety, okay? And I'll explain why at the end of it, okay? But when you break it down, and I was quite surprised by some of these results, to be honest with you, total punches, so this is left and right hand in all kinds of different directions, okay? So total punches landed, thrown. Hughie Fury, percentage-wise, beat Alexander Povetkin 8 rounds to 4, based on percentages, okay? When it comes to jabs, I was surprised. Opposite. Alexander Povetkin defeated Hughie 7 rounds to 5, okay? So with power punches as well, again, I would have thought that it would be the other way around, but no, Hughie Fury 8 rounds to 4, okay? So now the total punch stats, that's for the body and everything, and out of the 3 categories for the body punches, Hughie Fury also beat him 2 out of the 3 categories as well. But you can't go on CompuBox in its entirety, okay? Because there's so many different elements to look at and you score it round by round, okay? It's not just accumulatively, it's round by round, you add it all up and that's how you win a fight, okay? Now, when you look at it percentage-wise, it ain't too great just to go on CompuBox because, for example, Hughie Fury could throw 1 punch per round and land that 1 punch. That means he's got a 100% conversion rate, right? Okay, so it doesn't quite work out that way, okay? But either way, it's an interesting statistic in my opinion, that as far as percentage-wise punches thrown and landed, Hughie Fury wins. But how do you score a fight? Okay, people seem to be scoring fights subjectively, okay? Rather than it being that, punches thrown and landed. Percentages is what wins you around, okay? If you throw 100 punches per round, guess what? There's going to be a hell of a lot of punches landed at some point, right? But how many of those are meaningful? Maybe you score rounds based on aggression. If you do, then Povetkin won each and every round, didn't he? But let's not say that Hughie wasn't competitive at all, because he was. Now, as far as the improvements go for Hughie Fury, as I said, there's so many people being critical of Hughie. Oh, he's British level. Well, because he lost to Alexander Povetkin. Come on now. But as I said, he's 24 years old. So, in my opinion, power. He lacks power. He doesn't get enough respect from his opponent when he throws the right hand. And a lot of that is because he's fighting on the back foot. When you're fighting on the back foot on the move, you can't put mustard on your power shot. Now, I believe Hughie Fury can hit hard, but not as hard as some of the top guys. In other words, not enough to get the respect of them. In my opinion, listen, I'm not a trainer or anything like that, but if I was advising Hughie, I would say bulk up, put a bit of muscle, put a little bit of meat on those shoulders and those chest muscles, okay? Build him up a little bit, because we hear that his man strength is coming out, and at some point it'll come out, and then he's going to have a lot more muscle on his shots. Force the issue. Put a bit of muscle on, okay? I'm not saying bodies win fight, but I'm talking about getting a bit of mustard on your shots. Okay, be a bit braver as well, because when you compare it, and again, this is the reality of it, Povetkin is a supreme knockout artist, okay, and he did hit Hughie quite a few times on the chin, and Hughie took those shots. So we can't say that Hughie's got no chin, can we? When you compare his chin to Tyson Fury, excluding Deontay Wilder, the fact that he did get dropped twice in those, but he got dropped a couple more times in his career. So you could base it on that Hughie has a better chin than Tyson. Yes? So, again, those who say that Hughie Fury is washed up and he's no good and regardless he's not improving, listen, you're entitled to your opinion, but for me it's overly critical. Okay, the 3 fights that he's had, he's gone the distance with. And it's not like he got demolished in those 3 fights. He never got stopped. He was never really in trouble in any of those fights. If he adds a little bit more power to his game and a little bit more bravery, who knows what's going to happen? Okay, but from my opinion, for those who are saying that he's washed up because he loses to Alexander Povetkin, I said, Povetkin is supremely better just based on resume and all round than Luis Ortiz. So why are you giving Deontay Wilder credit? Povetkin, most people would pick him to beat Ruiz. So does that mean that Ruiz, because he defeated Joshua, that Joshua's on the scrap heap? As I said, if you hate Joshua, you could probably say, yeah, right? Personally, I don't. So there's so many other scenarios that we can draw on. Alexander Povetkin, when he fought Anthony Joshua, was a ranked 3 heavyweight across the board. Number 3, he loses to Joshua. Yes, he got stopped. Everyone except Josie Parker's got stopped against Anthony Joshua, right? Going into that fight. So again, there's so many different ways you can look at it. And I think a lot of it is based on whether you like Hughie or whether you like his style. Unfortunately, I don't think the judges like his style, so I do think he's going to have to change up a little bit because for whatever reason, judges, again, they're being maybe biased based on what they like rather than how you actually score a fight. Because how you score a fight isn't how many punches you throw, isn't how many that you land. Well, it kind of is, but it's based on punches thrown and landed, percentage-wise. Wasting punches, just throwing for the hell of it and not landing, is not scoring punches, is it? So, anyway, listen, that's my thing on it all. I think that people are being overly critical of Hughie Fury. He's lost to 3 elite guys. All 3 of these guys were top 10 heavyweights. Because he didn't get the result, does that mean he's washed up? Maybe, I don't know. Does this mean he'll never become a top 10 heavyweight? Maybe, I don't know. But as of right now, 24 years old, listen, he's doing all right, isn't he? He's doing all right. So anyway, you drop your thoughts below about it, click thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next one.